Hello everyone and welcome back to another anatomy video. This is Dr. Ayan from the Veterinary Anatomy channel. Today we will talk about the flexors and extensors of the carpal joint and the digits in the dog. So let's get started. In the antebrachial region, we can find a lot of muscles. These muscles could be divided into two groups. The group which we are looking at here is the craniolateral group. This is a lateral view. So craniolateral group. And on the other side, we have the caudomedial group. In the craniolateral group, we can find, as you can see here, four muscles. All of them are extensor muscles. All of them are extensor muscles. Two of them are extensor muscles of the carpal joint, and these two in the middle are there as extensor of the digits. So let's start from the cranial side to the caudal side. Here in this area, we have firstly the extensor carpi radialis. The extensor carpi radialis originates from the lateral supracondylar crest here and inserts to the metacarpal bone number 2 and 3. The function of this muscle, of course, is extension of the carpal joint. This muscle is innervated by the radial nerve. The next muscle just behind the extensor carpi radialis, here we have the common digital extensor muscle. The common digital extensor muscle originates from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and inserts to the B3 or the distal phalanx. The function of this muscle here is, of course, extensor of the digits, as you can see here. So here for the common digital extensor muscle, we have here just one muscle which ends with one tendon. Just below the carpal joint, you will find that this tendon will be divided. Let me just take it in my hand like this. Will be divided and gives four tendons, one for each digit. And again, contraction of this muscle will extend the fingers or the digits, as you can see here. The next muscle, just caudal to the common digital extensor muscle, here we have the lateral digital extensor muscle. The lateral digital extensor muscle originates also from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and inserts on the B3 of the last three digits. So that means in the same way, the tendon of the lateral digital extensor muscle will be also divided. If you can see that here, this is one tendon, this is the second one, and this is a small one here. And contraction of this muscle will extend the last, as we said before, three fingers or digits. What is the name of this muscle? This is the lateral digital extensor muscle. From the lateral epicondyle to the B3 of the last three digits. The last muscle in this group, located in this area here, is the extensor carpi ulnaris. The extensor carpi ulnaris originates also from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus and inserts, if you follow the tendon, inserts to the metacarpal bone number 5, the last metacarpal bone. The function of the extensor carpi ulnaris is an extensor of the carpal joint. So contraction of this muscle will extend the carpal joint. This muscle is also innervated by the radial nerve. So in general, a good news for all of us guys, that all muscles in the craniolateral group are extensor muscles. The outside two here are extensors of the carpal joint, and the two here in the middle are extensors of the digits, and all of these extensors are innervated by the radial nerve. And all of these muscles originate also from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, with one exception, the extensor carpi radialis, which originates from the lateral supracondylar crest here. Here I would like also to mention that the two digital extensor muscles, the common digital extensor muscle and the lateral digital extensor muscle, they are there for the extension of the digits, but at the same time they have another function. So contraction of this muscle will also extend the carpal joint, as you can see here. Again, so these two muscles are mainly for the extension of the digits, but at the same time they also extend the carpal joint. Here in the lateral view, if we move the muscles to the side here and there, we can see the Abductor pollicis longus. The Abductor pollicis longus, this muscle here, originates from the radius and ulnar, from the shaft of the radius and ulnar, as you can see. And if you follow the tendon of this muscle here, you will find that this muscle inserts to the first digit here. So this is the first digit here, this is the first digit, and if you follow the tendon of this muscle here, it will go directly to the first digit. So the function of this muscle here is to abduct the first digit. So the caudomedial group here in the antebrachium has four muscles. Two of them are flexors of the carpal joint. Two of them are flexors of the digits. So if we start with the first muscle, which is located cranially in this group, is the flexor carpi radialis. The flexor carpi radialis originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and inserts to the metacarpal bones number 2 and 3. So if you allow me to show you the medial surface here of the bones. So again, the origin of the extensor carpi radialis is from the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and the insertion is on the metacarpal bones number 2 and 3. Metacarpal bones number 2 and 3. This muscle is responsible for the flexion of the carpal joint. So it's a flexor of the carpal joint. This muscle, the extensor carpi radialis, is innervated by the median nerve, where we can see some of the branches of the median nerve for the innervation of this muscle. So flexor carpi radialis. The next muscle which we can see in this group superficially just under the skin is actually the superficial digital flexor muscle. So this is the superficial digital flexor muscle. Originate from the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and if you follow this muscle down, you will find that the tendon of this muscle will be divided here and gives 4 different tendons. Let me show you. So here it gives 4 different tendons, one for each digit. The tendons inserts to the B2 or to the middle, yes, the B2 or the middle phalanx. B2 or the middle, of course, P2 is the middle phalanx, okay? This is the superficial digital flexor muscle, or it's also called SDF. So the last muscle which we can see here is the flexor carpi ulnaris muscle. The flexor carpi ulnaris muscle, of course, before we forget, the function of the superficial digital flexor muscle is to flex mainly the digits, but at the same time it flexes also the carpal joint. The superficial digital flexor muscle is innervated by the median nerve. Here, let's move to the last muscle in this group, which we can see, of course, here caudally, is the flexor carpi ulnaris muscle. The flexor carpi ulnaris muscle has two heads. The first one here originates, as you can see, from the ulna, and the second one originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus. So if you want to see it, you have to move the SDF to the side, and after that you can see this head here originate again from the medial epicondyle of the humerus and insert. So at the end you will find that the two tendons of this muscle moves together and inserts on the accessory carpal bone. So again, let me just show you. You have to move the SDF to the side, and after that you can see both heads of the flexor carpi ulnaris. The first one originates from the ulna, as you can see here, and the humeral head, and that's why we name it as ulnar head. The humeral head originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus, and both of them inserts to the accessory carpal bone. So let me also show you here the origin and insertion of this muscle. So the flexor carpi ulnaris, the ulnar head originates from this area of the ulna, or olecranon in this case, and inserts to the accessory carpal bone, while the second head, the humeral head, originates from the medial epicondyle and inserts also on the accessory carpal bone. The function of this muscle, the flexor carpi ulnaris, from the name of course, is a flexor of the carpal joint. So contraction of this muscle will flex the carpal joint. Now we talked about three muscles, three flexors, and we still have just one flexor, is the deep digital flexor muscle. The deep digital flexor muscle is located from the name deeply under the SDF and under the flexor carpi ulnaris, so we have to move both of them to the side. We have also to move the flexor carpi radialis also cranially here. All the rest of the muscles which we can see here are parts of the DDF, or the deep digital flexor muscle. The deep digital flexor muscle has three heads. The first one originates at the biggest one actually, which we can see here. Let me just show you. So here we have the humeral head of the deep digital flexor muscle. If you look exactly, you will find that this head originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus. The second head of this muscle is located a little bit more deeply, and this one here, and originates from the radius, from the radial shaft, from the shaft of the radius. Here, this is the radius, and this is the radial head of the DDF. The last head, so this is the humeral head, this is radial head, and the ulnar head, which is the last head of the DDF, is this one here, originate from the shaft of the ulna. So in general, so the DDF has three heads: the humeral head, the radial head, and the ulnar head. I would like one more just to repeat the origin of these three heads. Again, the humeral head originates from the medial epicondyle of the humerus. The radial head originates from the radius, or from the radial shaft, and the ulnar head originate from the ulna. So if you follow the tendons of all of these three heads, you will find that all of these tendons move together to finally form just one tendon at this level, at the level of the carpal joint. After joining each other and forming one tendon, which is this one here, this is the tendon of the DDF, this one here, located just under the tendon of the SDF, you will find also that this tendon will be also divided and gives another 4 tendons for all fingers. I hope it's clear here. So I will move the artery to the side, and so I hope it's clear. So the tendon of the DDF or the deep digital flexor muscle inserts to the B3 or to the distal phalanx of all fingers. The deep digital flexor muscle is innervated by the median and the ulnar nerves. The function, of course, of this muscle is, again, of course, a flexor it's a flexion of the digits, and at the same time it flexes also the carpal joint. If you would like me just to pull this muscle here, let's put the forelimb like this and look exactly. I will fix it somewhere here like this, and look at the fingers. So contraction of this muscle will flex the digits, as you can see here. If we put everything like this and contract the muscle, you will find that this muscle, the DDF, as also the SDF, flex the digits and the carpal joint at the same time, just like this. Here, let me just show you again, the origin and insertion of these 3 heads of the DDF. The humeral head of the DDF in the medial view, of course, here originates from the medial epicondyle. The ulnar head originates from the shaft of the ulna in this area here. The radial head originates from the shaft of the radius here, and all of the 3 tendons move together here to form one tendon, which will be divided at this level here into 4 tendons and inserts finally on the flexor area of the P3 or the distal phalanx. Good. Here I would like to mention something. Here we can see superficially, this is the palmar view of the manus in the dog. After removing the skin, we can see this big tendon, which is the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle. Let me just put the forceps here under this tendon. As you can see, the tendon is divided into 4 tendons, which insert to the middle phalanx or the B2. And this muscle is flexor muscle of the digits. Okay, just under this tendon, if we move it to the side, we can find another tendon. Looks exactly the same. This is the tendon of the DDF. This is the tendon of the DDF. If you look exactly, you will find also that the tendon of the DDF will be also divided at this level here into 4 another ligaments. Let me just cut this one here completely and move it to the side like this. So here we can see that the tendon of the DDF is also divided into 4 tendons. Look here. Each of these tendons inserts to the B3 or the distal phalanx. Now, what I would like to mention here is that the superficial tendon inserts to the B2 or the middle phalanx, while the deep muscle, the deep tendon inserts to the B3. How could this happen? So let's pretend that this is the two tendons, or this is the two tendons, which are my finger. One of them will move to the B3 and the other one should go, which is located superficially, should insert to B2. So to make this happen, we will find that at the level of the B2, the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle will form like a small canal to allow the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle to move through it and to insert on B3. So in this case, this is my hand, the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle, which will go and catch or insert to the B2, but in this case it will form like a small canal and go to the B2, allowing the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle to move through this canal and insert to the B3. So this formation here called the Manica flexoria. The Manica flexoria. Let me try now to show you what I mean exactly by cutting the connective tissue in this area here. You will find that the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle here moves inside the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle. So this is the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle, moves, as you can see here, inside the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle, which is this one here. This one here. Again, look. So this area here formed by the tendon of the SDF, superficial digital flexor muscle, called the Manica flexoria. So here in the palmar view again of the manus of the dog, if we move the tendon of the superficial digital flexor muscle and the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle to the side, here we can see a lot of small muscles, called the interosseous muscles, found between the metacarpal bones, and that's why we name them as interosseous muscles. So interosseous muscles, of course we have in this case here 4 interosseous muscles.